That's right, I did it. I started watching One Piece. The live action and the anime. Now, I should state, I'm only like, I think episode 5 or 6. I'd have to check again. Of watching the anime, so no spoilers for the anime. But I did watch the first season of the live action series. I went through that pretty quickly, so that way I could do this review because the new season's coming out. And I didn't like this show. First of all, I'm just against any live action remake of anything for any reason. Because if it's animated, there's distinctly a purpose to it being animated. The idea of taking something that has literally personality drawn or animated into it, and making it more realistic has never once really worked. The only time I can think of it ever working was the fucking Flintstones. And that's because the Flintstones was a knockoff of a live action sitcom. Everything else is never worked in live action. There's just no purpose to it. I know the general audience has a fascination with the idea of what if you took that thing that I like and made it real, but the general audience is wrong. Like, the general audience half the time does not know what the fuck they like. You could feed them kind of slop, like these live action remakes that are garbage, and then there'll still be those theater goers that will complain and be like, there's no original ideas, when this is the shit that they're going to go watch. Now, I do think, in saying all that, this show is not as bad as most live action remakes. First of all, it's clearly made by fans of One Piece. Because even not seeing most of the anime, I could tell when certain things were callbacks. I could tell when certain musical cues came in what they meant, and they were exciting, and I liked it. But overall, watching the anime and then watching the series, and not even watching most of the anime. I've only watched 5 episodes, for God's sake. Of, like, how fucking long One Piece is, that's insanity. But anyways, I've only watched so many, right? And so when I'm watching this show, I just see, like, the personality gone. First of all, this show, like, if you watch One Piece, the anime, it is always sunny outside. They're in luscious environments. It feels like, and it's an upbeat, fun show. And while this show has parts of that in it, a lot of this show, there's scenes that are like darker lit that I just think look kind of ugly. Like, why is it lit? Oh, because they probably would save on visual effects, because that's why they darker lit a lot of these shows and movies that have a lot of visual effects, so that you don't notice that the effects are weaker. And then you get the, a lot of the, distinct humor in One Piece, because it's anime, is no longer here. And that is a huge problem for me, because that's part of the personality of the show. Like, I remember all that. And even some of the casting choices that I think are good, there's also certain ones I don't think are great. Like, I don't really like the casting for Zoro. Like, he's not what I imagined from that voice in the dub. Like, this guy who's, muscular built, and this guy I don't see as muscular built like the Zoro that I imagine, and having that kind of deep voice. There's certain characters, but everybody else, for the most part, most of the casting is pretty fine. But then you suddenly just get other things, like you have these like fish-looking people. I don't really know how to describe them, but they're in this show, and the costume isn't horrible, but it just feels cheap and like you're watching a stage production of something, because there is no good way to make that good in live action. And even this like clown villain in the show, in the anime, it's goofy already, but seeing it in live action, even done really well, because that actor actually does a good job playing that role, it's still just wrong. It's just not made for this format, and that it is made in this format. So it's one of those things where, I didn't hate myself watching it. Like most live action remakes, I actually found it pretty enjoyable and kind of fun. But there is a part of me that goes, why are so many people who are fans of One Piece even enjoying this show? because there's not much to get out of this show. Just factually. Like, it's just because you're watching it and you're going, oh, it's animated, right? But it's bad. Like, this is a bad looking not bad looking, but bad version of the thing you like. Like, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how fun or enjoyable or how many things they do somewhere right. There's enough of it just done wrong that just doesn't feel like it should. Now, season 2, I will say, does look better. The way Chopper looks, I like how he looks. But at the same time, there's still problems here. And as much as I like One Piece, I don't care for this show.